There's a lot of cameras out there.
You've got your pocket cameras, you've got your action cameras, you've even got your more advanced action cameras like the DJI Action 6. You've also got little tiny cameras like the Nano that you can separate and put on your clothing. You've also got,
camcorders. You've even got bridge cameras like this guy right here, this beast of a camera. But more than likely, when you start to do your filming, those aren't the cameras you're going to have with you. The one that you're going to have with you is going to be this guy right here. I'm talking about the smartphone. But there's problems with the smartphone. It's not exactly ergonomic. In other words, it's not easy to handle when you want to do your filming. But there's ways to fix that, and I'm going to show you how you can turn this into something more like this. That's right. And you can do it a lot cheaper than buying one of those expensive cameras that everybody else is telling you to buy. So if you'd like to see how I can turn this smartphone into something that I think is truly professional, keep watching, because you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So before we begin, first of all, I would like to thank everyone that got me to 100,000 subscribers. I would like to thank everyone from the very first subscriber to the 100,000 subscriber to everybody in between. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. Now, I'd also like to say that if you're new to the channel, I don't ask for a Patreon, I don't ask you to buy me a coffee, I don't do sponsored videos, and I also don't use paid affiliate links. As a matter of fact, if there's any savings, I tell the manufacturer to pass them on to you instead of giving me the commission for it. I do this because I don't want you to think that I'm recommending a product because I want a commission on it or because I got some kind of a kickback. I only accept products at no charge for the purposes of review and testing only, and I also send an ethical statement out to all the manufacturers to let them know that I tell you nothing but the truth about their products. So when I first started my YouTube channel, I started with a smartphone like this one here. And I also tell other people that's the way you should start too. And the reason why is I wanted to know if what I had to say was important to everybody out there. But smartphones do have some limitations. One of them is they're not very ergonomic, and they also didn't have image stabilization. In other words, if you move your phone around a little bit, they would get a little bit jittery and a little bit jumpy. But things have changed quite a bit with smartphones. This particular phone here, this S26 Ultra, will have IBIS. It has in-body image stabilization on one of the lenses. I'm not kidding you. It can shoot in 8K. So this is not your typical smartphone. But the problem is it doesn't feel like a camera when you go to use it in that manner. It also doesn't have the ability for me to frame myself on this side, and there's no tactile buttons other than these ones on the top, which aren't very tactile when you really think about it. So how do I fix that part of the phone? I like the camera, I like the fact that I'll always have it with me, but how do I fix those issues, and how do I do it in a way that doesn't cost an arm and a leg? So this is the TELESIN Master Grip. And this was specifically designed for this smartphone. As a matter of fact, it even has ND filters, and you can even trigger the camera functions without having it attached to the phone. The other advantage to having something like this is it even has wireless charging. So even if you didn't need to use the camera grip for taking photos, you can even use it just to charge your phone if you're in a jam. Oh yeah, it's got some tricks up its sleeve. Now they also sent me this guy right here. This is the TELESIN Magnetic Selfie Ring Light. And even though there's one included in here, this is a different kind of light than the other one. And I'm going to show you why that is and why you might want to pick up something like this because it would be useful for you. So I'm going to show you how this can actually work with the camera grip, and I'm also going to show you how you can use this by itself. So if you didn't want to spend the money on the camera grip and you just wanted to get something like this sells for about $33. I'm going to put a screenshot of what it costs in the corner. And this one here sells for about $220. And I'm just going to go over to the website right here. So this is it here. And it sells for $220, and I'm just going to scroll down a little bit just to show you what it looks like when you're looking at it on, and this is Amazon Canada, just so that you know. So I'm going to start by taking out this little guy right here, because you can use it by itself, and I'm going to show you how you can use it with your Samsung case. So if you didn't want to have to get a different case or anything like that, you can just use the case that comes with the phone. I'm going to show you a lot of the advantages just by getting the $33 one, and then I'm going to show you how it can actually expand the grip if you want to really go to that next level. Okay, so here it is here. So this is just the magnetic selfie ring light. Now there are other models, you'll see them on Amazon, but I recommend this one, and I'm going to show you why, because it can do a few tricks that those ones cannot do. And I'm just going to, so let's just take this out of the box. Now I took a little peek, that's why this got torn, because I do want to make sure that things are going to be charged up. It comes with your destructions, as I would call them, but you won't really need those. It's very intuitive to use. The packaging is just your standard packaging, nothing too fancy, but as you can see, it's not really all that necessary either. So it comes with this ring here that you can stick onto a phone if you don't have one of these. So I've got one of these built into my case, as you can see right there. But if you don't have that, it comes with that, and then you can just stick that onto there. And it is a good magnet, so it sticks on there pretty good. Even when I had it, even if you take this and you put it on there, it'll still have enough strength to stick onto the phone. I'm not kidding you. It is that strong of a magnet. But I'm just going to take this off, because so it comes this comes included with that. You stick that on there. I've got a light, so this is what that looks like, and then you can change different colors on your light. So you can change the different temperature, and then you can even change different RGB. So I'm just gonna go to the other camera shot and show you how that works. So I didn't want to do it underneath this camera because it's just not going to give you the best representation of what it can do. So I've got different styles of RGB. You've got like a little dial on the side here. See that little dial right there? And I can change the different temperatures. So I've got red and green and orange and purple and all kinds of other colors. And then you've got your color temperature color. So if you want to go from like 5600 Kelvin, if you're trying to match outside light and things like that, you can do that as well. So that's more of a warm color, and this is more of a cool color. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the tricks that it can do that's not in the one in the box. So this is the cool part. So it also has a mirror. Oh yeah. And it even has a little peeled cover. And this is a real mirror. It's not one of those plasticky mirrors. It's a real glass mirror. So you want to be aware of that as well. And that's what that looks like. Now, the other trick it can do is you can pull it out like so. Is that when you put it on the back, you've got your selfie mirror, and then you've got this light here too. And you can turn the light either this way or that way. You know, it doesn't matter. You can even have it offset if you want. You're not really governed by what direction. Everything is built really well, by the way. You can turn it any way you want, like this or like that. And you can get everything exactly where you want it, so it's not going to be in the way of your camera lens. I'm going to show you another trick it can do too. So if you needed a phone stand, I'll just turn this off. If you needed a phone stand and you wanted to put your phone on a stand, well, guess what? Now you have one. Yeah. I'm just going to zoom out a bit so you can get a better look at that. Yeah. Pretty cool. So it's got all kinds of unique uses. Pretty cool, right? Now, what happens when you take this and you combine it with the camera grip? So we're going to unbox the camera grip, and then I'm going to show you the light that you get in with the camera grip and how it differs from this one, because it does differ from this one. And then I'm going to show you how to pair everything with your phone. Okay, so now let's get this one out of the box. Now this one does cost more money than just this light here, but I am going to show you that it does have some real uses, and it really takes your phone to that next level. Okay. So it comes with a case, and as you know, phone cases by themselves can cost quite a bit of money. The phone case that I have on this phone here by itself is $50. So keep that in mind. I want you to keep track in your head of what these items would be worth separately if you were to buy them. Now this phone case here also has a stand so that you can prop your phone up in different ways as well. So if you wanted to put your phone like this, or you want to put it like this, you can. So it does have that ability as well. And it even has these ventilation holes to help keep your phone cool, because when you're doing filming and things of that nature, your phone is going to get hot. Now we also have the instructions in here, and I'm told, oh yes, and I'm just going to go back to me. So this is probably one of the nicest lanyards that I've ever seen for a smartphone grip. It has a little carabiner type thing over here. I'm just going to push on that to show you. You can even adjust it so that it can go to the exact size you want, which is really cool. And it feels like a very good quality item. So now we have this light here, and it's a lot different than this one. So if you look at this one is designed for flash, that's right. So if you're just taking photos, this one will act like a camera flash, and that's going to actually save the flash on your phone. Not only is it going to be brighter at 15 watts, but it also is going to give you more diffusion, so you're going to get a better quality light. Now the other thing that this can do is it can even control the camera remotely. So if you wanted to trigger your camera's record function or flash function, you can do that as well. So the grip itself will control this remotely and vice versa. Now we also have a bag for everything, I guess. Yeah, we have a bag, and of course we have charging cables. And I'm guessing the bag is going to be premium quality. Oh yeah, that is nice. That is very nice. And now we have the grip. And this is a metal grip. It's got real controls, just like a real mirrorless camera. You've got a function button, you've got a mode button there, and you've even got the ability to do wireless charging. So you charge it up here, you can wireless charge your phone. You've even got a quarter 20 mount here, and it's even got the instructions on here. So you can you can connect everything wirelessly and pair it with this guy right here. So I'm just going to take that off. So there's your wireless charging coil right there. Everything is all built in. So I'm just going to show you on the other. This is not a cheap quality item. And feel that grip. Like, look at my hands. I've got large hands, and that's a good solid grip. And this button here is also got two detents. So one is for focus, so you can half press for focus, and one is for taking the picture. And that will give you the same feel that you would get as if you had a DSLR. So now we're actually taking the phone, which has this awkward shape to it, and we're giving it a form factor that is very useful. We even have an ND filter. That's right. And to my knowledge, they're also going to be making other types of filters and accessories for this grip as well. That is it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, good. Okay, so now we have to hook everything up and see the way it looks. So I got to take the old case off and I'm going to put the new case on, and then we're going to check out to see, you know, how that looks, how it feels. Okay, so let's start with the case. So I'm just going to put the case on the phone, but I've got to take the old case off first. So this is a real Samsung case, by the way. And I'm just going to, there we go. And this is what the Samsung phone looks like without the case. And then we're going to put this in the case. Oh yes, and one thing I want to let you know is I'm told to take the S Pen out when you're putting it in the case. So when you put it in this case and take it out of the case, take the S Pen out. It'll be a lot better. Because if you look, there's a bit of a bump there, and that will be just so much better. Okay. And it gives it a very, wow, I gotta tell you, it makes my phone look like it's a lot more expensive than it was before. That is really nice. Very, very nice. Now let's take a look at what this looks like when you put this on there. Wow. Okay, and you've got a thumb rest over here. So let me just go back to me. So what do you think of it, the way it looks now? Does that look like your typical smartphone, or does that look like something that's more serious? If you were to bring this to a wedding and take pictures versus just something like this, you're holding it in your hands like this and clicking on the front, that's not going to look as professional as if you had this. Now, I put the light on there, and now we've got this set up, and I've even got ND filters, and they just slide on like so, and they're magnetic, and they hook on there really good. So that's what it looks like. That looks like a completely different animal than what I first started with. This looks like a real cinematographer's beast. This does not look anything like the original Samsung S26 Ultra. Looks a lot better than what it did before, and it has a nice feel. Now I've got some other tricks I want to show you, because I can turn the phone just like that. So if you want to do vertical video, bam, and you've got your quarter 20, you just have to turn it to go this way, to go for your horizontal. It slides really nice, by the way. And if I turn on the bottom, and now my phone is wireless charging. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna unlock my phone, and this is the ReefColor app, and I already put it on my phone. You can get it on the Google Play Store. That's what it looks like. So if you need to know what the ReefColor app looks like, that's what it looks like. And then I click on that, and it will automatically give me all of the functions, and it even has different LUTs, so you can shoot in black and white if you want, and things of that nature. You can shoot in video, or you can shoot in camera mode as well. So you can even pick different cameras. Like this is like your Hasselblad look. You've got your other types of cameras. Look, it's even got underwater dive cameras, Canon cameras. You want the Polaroid look, you can give the Polaroid look as well. But, you know, and then I do believe, so you can either use this button here to take pictures, but I've taken the sound off there. So if you want to have it so that it's silent, because that's how I would use it. So I'm just going to go into the functions right here. Now you see how I turn it and everything just kind of rotates? I like that. Now if I want to go into here, okay. So there's the snap sound. And I can even go with the Hasselblad right there, or I can go with, there's the C90D, or you can go with the, I think that's the Fuji. And there's the Hasselblad. So if you wanted to have that camera sound, if you wanted to have that feel, then you can, and that's what they sound like. But for me, I like to keep things quiet, especially if I'm doing street photography. I don't need to draw any unnecessary attention to myself. The other thing is that you can pick your format, 9:16. You can go expand. There's your expanse one. So that's this guy right here. Now you see how those turn? They turn like that. I'm just going to show you on the other camera. There we go. They kind of rotate. It's really cool how they rotate. Bluetooth functions, and you're going to see it says TELESIN S26, and it'll say connected. And that is how you connect this device with the camera. So if I was to click this, you see how I can call up different things there. So I'm just going to go into the ReefColor app. So if I was to click the shutter button, I just took a picture. So it doesn't have to be attached to this for it to work. So if you wanted to do something that was remote, if you needed a remote control that could do that, you can. So I'm going to turn this on. And we're going to power this guy on here. And I'm just going to give you an idea here. Yeah. So that will go on to here. Doesn't matter the orientation. That's the video mode. But if I click on the shutter, so if I click that now, yeah, that's quite a, and you can turn that down, I believe. Yeah, you can turn that down. You can turn it up or down, however bright you want it. So you can have a remote triggered flash. So I can put this someplace else. Just get rid of that, because this keeps getting in the way. So if I want to have a remote trigger flash, and I want to put this on there, I'm just going to go back to me. So I've got the flash down there. I want to take a picture of myself. Yeah, just like that. And now I can take a picture with a flash. And so instead of having a flash in your eyes where you can get that red eye, you can have it above your head, and then you can take your pictures other ways too. So you don't have to have the flash attached to the camera for it to work. So I can just take a picture like that, and then I can get a picture of a different, if I want to highlight a shadow or something like that, or put it under the chin, you know, I can do that, and I can remote trigger it from here. You don't have to have it mounted on the back of the camera, but you can, and then you can go like that. Now we're into video. So it does 1080p 30, you can do 4K 30 and 4K 60. And then of course you can also put your watermarks in there as well. So, you know, if I want to put the watermark in there, I can, and if you're in vertical or horizontal, it'll automatically change according to what you're doing. You want to zoom in, you can zoom in. You want to have your you know, your flash intensity, your brightness, things like that. You can do that as well. And now I'm going to trigger this over to the video light aspect of it, intensity, things like that. So I can turn up that as well. So that's quite a bright light. Let me just show you. This is not a you know, this is quite a bright light. So the one that comes with the camera is pretty good. So why would I buy this one in conjunction of having this one? Well, a lot of it has to do with that selfie mirror. So if you open up this one, there is no selfie mirror on the inside of this one. It also doesn't have this ability to expand. So you can pull this one here out and you can expand things. You can be a little bit more creative in that way. So I'm going to hook this one here up now. And that's what it looks like. But I can also, so I just want to be clear that this one is not going to be connected in the same Bluetooth. So if you're doing that flash, so if you're doing flash photography, this is going to be the one that you use. If you're doing video work, this is going to be the one that you use. And now you have a selfie mirror with a video light. And the video light is now expandable. So now you can have this set up here, and I can turn this light on, and there you go. And I can rotate it either way. Just going to put it like that. So now you can get yourself in frame. I can see myself in frame, and I'm just going to test that out. And I'm going to record. There we go. And I'm just going to see, well, how well does that put me in frame? I know that I'm looking at a certain spot in there, and this is what it looks like. And I'm just going to take a picture like this. There we go. So this particular grip is designed to work with the ReefColor app. But a lot of people are going to ask me, well, can it work with the Blackmagic Camera app? How well does it work with that? What can you use and what can't you use? Well, I'm going to address those questions right now. So I'm going to open up the Blackmagic Camera app, and it's right here. So as you know, the Blackmagic Camera app is a very professional app. Just going to rotate this around, and I've got it on the screen. So if you take a look, it's got a whole lot of goodness on there. Like we're filming in 6K, we've got the white balance, we've got the frames per second, we can put LUTs on there. There's a lot going on there. But does this grip work with this app? Because if it doesn't, well, the only thing that you're going to have is the grip. And by the way, that is a big deal, and it would not necessarily be a deal breaker, but I'm just letting you know that most people are going to want some functionality. So this is your zoom rocker lens, and I'm just going to see if it zooms in and out. There we go. Because I need you to see that it's zooming in and out. So I'm using the rocker and it's zooming in and out, which is good. And does it start and stop recording if I hit the button? And the answer is yes. So it does. So if I click that and I click it again, and it stops it. Now, what about the dial wheel at the front here? What would that do? Well, if I click it once, it makes everything disappear except for what I'm trying to shoot. Can I still record? Yes. Can I stop? Yes. Let me just put down a subject here just so we got something in frame here. There we go. And it stops. And of course I can zoom out, I can zoom in, and yeah, there we go. I zoomed out even more, I got the wide angle lens on there. Okay. Now if I click this again, the little wheel at the front, I've got all my settings back. That's pretty convenient. Now, normally when you want to do that on the Blackmagic Camera app, you have to swipe up, you have to swipe down like that, but it's still nice to know that I can do that with just a click. Now, as far as the function buttons go, these buttons don't do a whole lot, but the most important buttons, in my opinion, are the start and stop recording and the zoom function. So those are the ones that I think are the most important. I do believe that if I hit the function button, it will change it. Oh, it activates the automatic autofocus, I believe. There we go. If I hit it again, it turns the autofocus off. So I guess that's kind of cool. And this one here, it doesn't do anything if I hit this button. Okay, if I hold this down, it powers it right off. If I turn it back on, it goes into the native camera app. If I scroll here, I can go portrait, there, video, photo, video, more. Okay, so if you're in the native camera app, you can use this to toggle back and forth. And you can switch functions using this guy right here. You can still take a picture. You can zoom in and out. Okay, so you've got some functionality. And again, you see how I had my fingers here and they're getting in the lens? That's why you need the grip, because you can do that without the grip. Or I'm sorry, you can do that. The grip comes in handy for that. You can zoom in and out, take a picture. There we go. Okay, go back to me. So I am going to show you how you can kind of remap the buttons if you're in the ReefColor app. I'm just going to briefly touch on that because, you know, there's a lot of settings you can do in all of these different apps, but I just wanted to touch on that really quickly in case you want to use that app and you want to know that you can change these buttons. Okay, so we're going to go to the ReefColor app. Switch on to this one. Let me see, how do I remap that? Okay, so you want to go to this area here, and then you're going to go to the dial. So the dial can adjust your exposure. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. You can adjust your exposure, your filter switch, your filter intensity, shooting mode, your ISO, things of that nature. So you pick whatever one you want this dial here to do. Function key, that's this little guy right here, the function key. You can have it switch exposure, adjust, filter switch, filter intensity, adjust ISO, shooting mode, adjust shutter speed. So you can adjust all of those things. Then if I want the wake up key, which would be this guy right here, I can switch shooting mode, switch camera, switch focal length. And then we've got the snap sound, of course, which is, you know, whatever one that you wanted to pick. So this is how you adjust your different function keys. So, you know, if you want to adjust different things on your function key, your dial, and your wake up key, that's how you do that. Now, I just got to be clear. So you cannot map the same way in other apps. So TELESIN made the ReefColor app. They did not make those other apps. Now, I did show you that it does work with the Blackmagic Camera app, and the reason why I wanted to show you that was because a lot of people will use that app. It also works with the native Samsung app as well. Now, as far as the front dial goes, it has limited functionality. As far as the other buttons go, they are limited in their functionality. Now, that doesn't mean that future firmware updates might address those issues, but you have to keep in mind that those other apps have nothing to do with TELESIN. The fact that they work at all is amazing in my opinion. So now I'm going to take this out into the world and I'm going to take some video, I'm going to take some pictures, I'm going to use the ReefColor app for some of them, I'm going to use the Blackmagic Camera app for some of them, and I'm going to also use the Samsung native app so that you can get an idea of what each one looks like. Okay, we're back. So I took the TELESIN Camera Grip on a little bit of a bus trip, and here is the photos and video that I got on that bus trip. Now, I am going to block out some people's faces for their own privacy because they did not know that I was filming them, and I just want to be respectful. So if you see a little blurred squares, that is why. Okay, so very short videos, but I just wanted to give you some examples of what the Reef Camera app looked like. I also wanted to show you what the Blackmagic Camera app looked like. And again, you can use the zoom in and zoom out function on the Blackmagic Camera app as well as the trigger button. Once you put this onto here, people will notice that, hey, this isn't your typical cell phone. It's got quite the grip on this thing, but it is a lot more comfortable to hold. You can also hold it easily in different positions. So I just want to show you something where I can hold it in this position too. Now you do have to be careful not to get your fingers in the way of the lens. So you're going to want to back things off a bit, but you can get lower shots than you normally could with your cell phone. And you can also get higher shots as well, because you can position it in this manner as well. Now, the other thing that I found out is that on the bottom here, that USB-C charging port can actually put out voltage as well. Now, it can't wirelessly charge the phone and power another device at the same time, but you can plug in a cable from here, either that straight into your phone and you can charge your phone that way, or you can even use one of those cooling fans. So if you find that your phone is getting hot, because when you're filming in 6K and 8K, your phone is going to get rather warm. So you can just take off this light and then you can put a cooling fan on there. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. And there you go. So I've got a little RGB cooling fan going on there. And it says it's around 18 degrees. So it's going to help keep this plate cool, this one right here, which will in turn help cool off the phone. So, you know, it'll take a little while to cool up the first plate, but you know, it will conduct down through your phone eventually, and it will keep it nice and cool for you. So it's not going to let it get too hot. You're not going to have those overheating issues, but it's kind of neat that you can do that. And a lot of other people didn't really talk about that feature when they talked about this camera grip. So the only thing that you really need to be aware of is that if you were to bump the phone really hard against something, you could separate it from this magnet. Now, normally I would recommend that there be some kind of interlocking system in here so that it's actually locked into the grip. But then I thought that if you were to do that, you could actually break the grip or break the case. And sometimes you're better just to have things break apart, let them fall, and then just pick them up. The magnet is really strong. It's not like it's just going to fall off. It does have to hit something rather hard in order to come off. But if you were on a subway or something and you were to bump into somebody and you were just holding it on by the grip, you could end up losing your phone in that way if you hit somebody hard enough or you hit a pole or something like that. So just keep that in mind. You may just want to keep this separately and put this in your pocket until you're actually ready to use it to do some shooting. Is there anything about the TELESIN Camera Grip that I would improve on? Well, there was one issue that I thought could use a little bit of work. On the front here, you have a button, and I kind of like having a display to show me what my Kelvin is and what my other features are. Now, it would add to the cost of one of these lights significantly, but it would be a cool feature to put on a future unit. And I would probably put that on the back part so that way you don't see it. Now, as far as this flash one goes, this is really cool, very bright. It's either 3 watts for the video light or 15 watts for the photography light, and it actually works really well. And I really like the fact that you don't have to have it attached to the camera. And that's one of the things that a lot of people want. They want a remote trigger on their cameras. So having a remote trigger built into the grip itself, you know, via software, gives you some really cool shooting experience that only pros really experience, because they'll buy flash triggers and special lights and things like that. So I think that this is a really cool light that comes with this. The other thing I want to mention is the ND filter. So I've got the ND filter on here, and it just kind of slides over top. But I would not leave that on. It does add some protection to your lenses, but this ND filter is going to eventually get scratched up, because I do believe yeah, it's plastic, so it's going to start showing some signs of scratching and things like that. So you're going to want to keep this in the velvet bag until you want to use it. So I would recommend that TELESIN comes out with some sapphire glass ND filters, something that's really, really tough and hard, because a lot of people do put their cell phones in their pocket and they may want to have a set of these. Maybe they would like to put a clear filter and maybe even an anamorphic filter on there as well. I do know that they're working on some additional lenses, so you never know what they're going to do. But as far as this one goes, I would just keep it in another spot until I was ready to use it. But it did come in handy when I was doing my shooting, and I did use it. The other thing I want to let you know is that this case does make your phone look very fancy. In other words, it adds a bling factor to the phone. Now that's a good thing and also a bad thing, because other people do notice this case when it's on your phone, and it may get unwanted attention if you're trying to remain incognito. So just to let you know, you can use the Samsung TELESIN Grip with the regular Samsung case as well. And I think that it does give it a lower profile. This case here is very fancy and it does look expensive, and a lot of people did notice it when I was on the bus. Well, hey, I got some bling on my phone. So if you were looking for the DJI Osmo Pocket 4 or maybe the new Insta360 Luna, you might want to just consider, upgrading your phone and getting one of these grips, because it may offer you more in the long run because it'll be more usable, and it's also going to give you more cinematic functions as far as 6K, 8K recording, and the simplicity of actually editing and everything all on the same device. So if you are a one-man band, this is going to be a more handy way to go. So that's it for this video. I'd really like to thank TELESIN for sending out the camera grip. I think it was a really well-designed unit. There was very little in the way of room for improvement. It was well-designed and it works really, really well. So having the wireless charging was an ingenious move, because if you needed a wireless microphone, you can plug it in there while you have it on the grip. They do leave a lot of space, so I noticed that you could put different types of wireless microphone systems in there, and you can even have that hooked up as well. So if you want to hook up a DJI system or a Mainow system or one of those type of wireless microphones, you can. I even have the Ceremonic system, and that will work on there also. Take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video. Bye.